Imagine you're a woman, you're experiencing PMDD, menopause, fibroids, PCOS, endo, and they stick you in a psychiatric hospital. Well, back in the day, that was the norm. These women were going through what is naturally occurring, and men decided that they were going crazy and stuck them in a psychiatric hospital. That was known as hysteria. Hey, y'all, I'm Shawna. I'm a therapist and intuitive reproductive health coach. If you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back, hello. So, let's take a minute and talk about my unpopular opinion about mental health. Yes, I'm a therapist, but I have my unpopular opinions about mental health. Let's start off by saying that most mental health diagnoses are based upon old research. And once the research has been done, there really hasn't been any further research to expand that diagnosis. So once you receive one, you're kind of put in this box. And now that you're in this box, your treatment is as such of what has been designated for that particular box. Hence my hysteria example. Problem number two, if we're working off this old research and there's no expansion, how can we really have a great treatment plan? Women, men, adolescents, children, doesn't matter. We all show signs and symptoms differently. The thing is that when someone is, say, depressed, the way that one person looks, and particularly men versus women, it looks very different. It doesn't always have to be what's typical in the box, but again, it is different. And so, if we are working in this box that we've created, how are we supposed to make the most of this person's life when we keep them in a box, when we should be treating whatever their mental health diagnosis is in a different way based upon their gender, their age, or any of that? If you watch my other episode where I talked about my unpopular opinion with the medical community, this one is here too. So, medication makes you sicker. I said that. I did. Medication makes you sicker because what happens is that you're getting medication, it's not treating the root cause of the problem, and it's only just masking what is happening or the symptoms that you're having, but you're not really addressing it. The other piece is that medication works on how your body is responding to whatever the stimulus is, but it's not changing what's going on up here. And sometimes you actually have to do both. You got to do counseling and you have to take something to manage your body. And I understand that. But there are more natural ways to manage without medication from Big Pharma. The other thing that's happening with this medication piece is that sometimes you're misdiagnosed. And when you're misdiagnosed, and again, you're getting medication that is typically in that box for that diagnosis, now you're taking the wrong medication. And it's just keeping you in the cycle instead of getting better and getting healthier. Okay, so here's one that doesn't get talked about enough. Inflammation. There has been tons of research that says inflammation is directly connected to a lot of our problems that we have in our body. A lot. And is directly connected to the gut. I talked about this one in the other series too. And when you are experiencing problems in your gut and in inflammation in your body, it's going to show up in your health. Remember that our mind and our gut is connected via the vagus nerve. And so when something's wrong in the gut, it's probably going to be wrong upstairs in the mind too. Okay, here's another opinion, unpopular opinion that I have. A lot of people feel like just because I'm having a mental health episode, I'm experiencing something, I don't like the way that I feel. They feel that they can get rid of the way that they feel. But the reality of it is that we are on this continuum. We have good, we have bad, we have highs, we have lows, we have it all. And our emotions is what makes us human. And so your job as a human is to just learn how to manage your emotions when they get a little bit too much for you. And that's not to say that the person next to you can do things one way and you have to do it something different. You have to find your own way to manage yourself, manage your mental health, instead of just like getting rid of it, which is what is prescribed or what a lot of people think should happen. I also bring this up because the dark side is reinforced by society and the actions that are happening in society or what they tell you to do on how to manage your mental health. And so we have to remember that our well being is connected to our everyday life. And if we're not doing anything to support our everyday well being, then it's going to have an impact on our mental health. And until you learn to explore for yourself, you may realize that you're stuck in like this crazy matrix. How do we fix this issue? Especially when everything I talked about is being reinforced by society. It's being reinforced by society's actions and telling you this is what you should be doing instead of you figuring it out on your own. So I've come up with a list on how can you learn to start managing for yourself and learn to kind of put yourself or take care of your well-being. So first, we probably should improve our diet. One, because it's the gut. Remember, the gut and the mind are connected. And then if we have some good microbiomes in our gut and our gut is working well, then our mental health is generally going to be better. There's also some specific foods that you can eat in order to boost your mental health. Two, you want to find some alternative ways to just process information. We have emotions. Everything we do has an emotion attached to it. And if you just need to process that, find a way to do that. Three, work on unlearning and disputing negative thought processes. When we understand how we're thinking, it makes it a little bit easier for us to manage the emotions that I was talking about. So for every thought, there's an emotion or feeling, and then there's a behavior or action that comes behind that. And so if we change the way we're thinking, our behavior and our actions should be different. Four, we're going to reduce our stress and get more sleep. Effectively, if we're doing those two things, we're taking care of ourselves and we're providing some form of self-care. However, there have been studies that have linked that the lack of sleep is directly connected to our mental health and how we're functioning from day to day. So sleep and sleep deprivation is real. And so make sure you're doing things to improve your sleep. Okay, so I talked about medication in Big Pharma earlier, and I talked about it in another series. But there are a ton of alternative herbal treatments, remedies, whatever you want to call them, that work just as well, if not better, than traditional medication. And you're probably going to have way less side effects. So if you're a person who needs to have the support for your body as well as your counseling and all your self-care for the actual mind piece, look at some alternatives to see if there's something that can help you. And if you need some support with that, I could do that too. Lastly, be consistent. I can't stress that enough. We make all these small changes. We're trying to improve our mental health. But one way to make sure that we're getting things in and getting things done is to be consistent. And if you're consistent with all the things that you're trying to work on, you will start to see changes in your day-to-day and your mental health, and things just won't bother you just as much. Okay, so I hope this was helpful for you today and that you find something that is useful that you can add into your personal journey. Okay, bye for now.